Hey, it's Mike from 424recording.com. In today's video, we're going to talk about gear acquisition syndrome and money. So this is a follow-up to my other video on gear acquisition syndrome. I guess you could say it's a part 2. So if you haven't watched that one, watch that one after this, or watch that one before this. Whatever you want to do is cool with me. I wanted to make this video as an addendum, and also because I had some other ideas about gear acquisition syndrome when it comes to money, and just some general advice when it comes to finances and gear purchases. Paying with cash does two things. Number one, it makes sure that you have enough money to actually buy what you want to buy. And number two, it allows you to see how much you're actually spending. When you have to count out $1,000 in $20 bills and hand it over for a piece of gear, that really hurts. And you really get to see how much money you're actually putting out on the table. With the proliferation of credit cards and online banking, it becomes really easy to get separated from numbers in terms of how much cash those numbers represent. 1,000 doesn't really seem that much in numbers, but when you break it down in cash, that's a lot of cold hard cash right there. And that's a lot of time and energy you spent trading your finite amount of time, the most valuable resource of all, to get that amount of cash. So at the end of the day, try to pay for gear purchases with cash, and don't just swipe the card or type your card number into your favorite gear seller's website. It seems like the whole credit industry is propped up on the fact that you're gonna mess up and we're gonna make a lot of money off of your screw ups. It's a classic bait and switch. The promise of getting whatever you want on one side and the realization that you're gonna be in debt for years to come if you get what you want. It's a pretty tricky business. Well, at least to us consumers that buy into this idea of we deserve to have credit, we deserve to have whatever we want. Maybe we don't deserve to have whatever we want if we're not willing to work for it. I can't tell you how many people I know who have immense amounts of credit card debt and seem as if they're never going to get out of the credit card debt hole. And that's the whole idea of credit cards as well, is to put you into debt. Your interest compounding on itself every year that you don't pay off what you borrowed. Credit card companies are pretty mischievous and devious in the sense that they give you the promise that things are going to get better in the future. Oh, of course you'll have a better job 6 months from now, 12 months from now. But the truth of the matter is, at least in terms of my own life and thinking about it, things have either, for me financially, A, stayed exactly the same as they have been, or B, gotten worse. I don't know what kind of magical land these credit card companies think the most people exist in, but it's not a place that I exist in. And that's why I don't buy into the credit card companies' hootenanny. Remember, kids, the more you spend, the more you consume, the more that you go into debt, and the more you're enslaved by the system, man. Monthly payment plans don't seem like the worst idea as long as there's 0% interest, but at the same time they are almost the exact same thing as credit cards. I see companies like these popping up on gear websites now, and again, the proliferation of these companies makes me think twice about gear and acquiring gear, and it should make you think twice about acquiring more gear too. Because music is something that I love, and of course I'm going to want to acquire new gear, but at the cost of my own personal finances and personal well-being and debt-free lifestyle that I'd like to maintain. Everywhere you turn, it seems like there's another deal on a monthly payment plan. 0% interest for 48 months. 4 years. 0% interest. That's crazy. I guess if you're gonna buy something and it costs you $20 a month for, 4 years, chances are you'll probably be able to afford that. But the way I look at it is, if I can't wait to save the money to buy what I want in the future, do I really want what I want to buy right now in the present? If you have to buy new gear, why not just sell old gear to make the money to buy the new stuff? Kind of at a place right now where I'm getting rid of more stuff than I'm acquiring. And if I do acquire something, it's because I'm getting rid of stuff. So in a sense, as things come in, things are going out. And generally, that's just a good rule to live by. I've also been keeping track of the money that I've been accumulating from selling gear and putting that aside for the prospect of buying new gear. And that's the only money that I'm going to use to buy new gear if I even actually buy anything in the future. So in this sense, the money is staying in the idea of music gear, and I'm not going to add to it. So, I'm probably not going to be acquiring too much more gear unless I continue selling more of my old gear. This also works twofold as well, because over time, the things that I've bought in the past are probably not worth as much, so it's going to allow me to spend less and less on new gear, because honestly, the value of those items is just going down and I'm not getting the money that I spent to buy them out of them in many cases. Hopefully you have at least one friend, and this friend is also into music. If so, trade a guitar with them. If they have a drum machine you like, and you have a drum machine they like, swap drum machines for a little bit and challenge each other to write some new songs. This way you're keeping your tools fresh and using different items to inspire yourself to make more music. And you're also not spending any money, which after all is the point of this whole video. On Reverb.com, I've also had people reach out to me to trade items, and while I'm not really interested in trading items because I'm only interested in cold hard cash at this point in my life, the prospect of trading items online also seems reasonable if the person has good feedback or if the person seems somewhat sane. I'm not quite sure how this works, but I'm assuming you both enter a tracking number and ship the items to each other and trade things. Obviously this would be a lot easier to do in person, but say you have a listing, they have a listing, they have a distortion pedal that you want, you have a chorus pedal that they want, boom, you guys trade. I could see it working. I could also see it going south pretty quickly. So in terms of trading over online services with people, use caution. In all, I think these tips on gear acquisition syndrome get to the philosophy of the channel being challenge yourself to do more with less. Challenge yourself to create more with spending less money. After all, isn't that the whole point of 4-track recording? At least that's what it's all about for me. Don't forget to subscribe to my YouTube channel, you nerd. Godspeed, my friend. I wish you well in all your gear acquiring endeavors, and I hope if you're gassing right now, this video was helpful for you. Peace.